Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard. Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard an election. And the complaint that an election, and the complaint Ukrainians to help them cheat an election, and the cheat an election, and the complaint that I've heard is to help them cheat an election, and the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week.
All right, well, that is the explosive opening to Real News Live. It is a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Bara, in Las Vegas, Nevada, joined as I always drinking tonight a little book of whiskey out of my Seattle Seahawks 2026 Vince Lombardi Trophy Super Bowl champions. What do you call it? Snifter? I don't know. What do you call it, Blake?
Decanter? Chris?
Decanter, yeah. Welcome to the show. That was Eric Farticus Swalwell, and I am so disappointed his political career is over because I wanted him to run with Cory Booker so we could have a Spartacus Democratic ticket in 2028. Now it's not going to happen. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome to Real News Live, Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm joined, of course, as I always am, the man to my immediate stage left, to my right, physically, Dr. Brooks Agnew, the smartest man in North Carolina. Brooks, how's it going? How was your day? How's the house coming along? Anything left to do?
Well, the weather is absolutely perfect. We're starting on the outside landscaping now, so this is a major, major project. Lots of heavy equipment. I'm drinking Perrier tonight. It was 83 and sunny, and my grandson won his first baseball game tonight.
All right, congratulations.
First game of the season.
That's cool. It's always cool to win the first game. And going counterclockwise, anti-clockwise if you're British, because we have an international audience here. Immediately below Brooks Agnew is the owner of the finest strip club in Nashville, Tennessee, the Lickety Split, TV's Blake Wally, Epic Cub reporter. Blake, How's it going? How's your week been? And what's up?
Doing well. Great to be here in the lounge here, the swanky lounge before the girls come in later. So it's a pleasure to be here with you guys covering the latest news and current events.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, sorry. What are you drinking? You're finishing your larceny.
I might finish it out tonight. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Yeah. And completing the cycle, right next to Blake is the man from nowhere, Fuckville, Arkansas, Steve Doran, the trail boss, in the ranch house at the Doran compound, heavily armed, fully armed, fast, and maneuverable, as Mr. Scott once memorably said on Star Trek. It is the trail boss, Steve Doran. Steve, how you doing tonight? How you feeling? And what, if anything, are you drinking?
Actually, I'm feeling really good. I'm not drinking anything because I left it over on the counter before the show started, but it was iced tea.
It was iced.
Maybe when you're doing one of your clips, I'm gonna turn off my camera and run and get it.
Okay, well, let's get to the news. The top story tonight, of course, based on that explosive introduction, is the resignation of thorn in the side, commie, simp, wimp, Eric Swalwell. He's gone. He's resigned not only from the California governor's race, but also from the Congress today because he was recently caught up. Let's just do a little setup here. Recently caught up, been accused by a whole bunch of former staffers of being sexually inappropriate with them, walking around with his dick hanging out. I wouldn't think it would be big enough to really hang out, but that's just, what I think. I wouldn't know. And there was an awesome video of Swalwell in a hotel room with a prostitute. Let's watch a little bit of that on loop. Here's Eric Swalwell and the prostitute in question. No audio. Oh,
looks like it froze, Mike.
Mike is frozen again.
Oh,
now it's good. There we go.
There we go. There's Eric. There's the girl. There's somebody else on the bed, and there's a third guy apparently filming. It looks like they passed this girl around between them. Now, what you want to do in the privacy of your own home or hotel room with your time and your money is one thing, but criminal sexual assault against staffers is another thing. And here's something really, really interesting. People are asking the question, who's the other guy on the bed with him? Who's the other guy that turned this girl into a pig on a spit? Obviously, at some point a little bit later in the evening. And if you notice, when he leans in, he's got a beard, he's got a short haircut, and he's wearing some really interesting shoes. Now, let's take a look at a little more of that, because some people are saying that is none other than Ruben Gallego, the guy from Arizona, stole his Senate seat in 2024. Got the side of the head, beard, ears, build. Looks a lot like him. And he, of course, has come out and denied this. But let's take a look at one more thing, which is really, really interesting about Ruben Gallego, because here's the guy's shoes. And guess who owns that exact pair of shoes?
Oh, my gosh.
Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona, fake senator who stole. And, of course, we've had now 3 or 4 or 5 senatorial elections in Arizona stolen by Democrats ever since they were able to run Joe Arpaio out of town. And it's reached a point where Gallego or whatever the fuck his name is has actually had to come out and make a statement. Let's hear what he has to say.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I call this today because there's just a lot of rumors going around about me, about my family. And, unfortunately, this is not the first time. I did deal with the same BS in 2024 and 2023 when they ran millions and millions of dollars of smears against me, lied about my family.
Are they like? Sure.
And to same damn people again. Carrie Lake, Chris LaCivita, bunch of political operatives. They couldn't do in 2024, trying to do again in 2026. So I want to make a couple of things very clear. Number one, Eric Swalwell lied to all of us. He lied to the most powerful people in this country. And they trusted him. They trusted him with some of the most sensitive spots in our government, whether it was on the Judiciary Committee, Intel Committee, impeaching Donald Trump. And that clouded my judgment, my friendship with him. Our family's friendship together with him clouded my judgment. And I was wrong. I deeply, deeply regret that. The women that came forward are courageous, and they still deserve justice. But to be clear again, I also had no knowledge of predatory behavior, sexual assault, or harassment. And unfortunately right now, the same people that are attacking me in 2024 are using this horrible situation that's been thrown upon these women, thrown upon Eric Swalwell's family, and using this as an excuse to politically attack me, lie about me, and lie about my family. And I will not take that lightly. So with that, I'll gladly take any questions because we're here. I'm not going to let the same thing fade out.
Now, what most people do not know or appreciate is that Ruben Gallego was campaign manager for several of Eric Swalwell's campaigns. They were close friends. They hung out together. And quite obviously, he was the other guy on the bed with the prostitute whenever that video was taken a few years ago, because it's the same fucking shoes that he wears. It's clearly the side of his head. He's a liar. And if he was involved with Swalwell, he knew everything about Swalwell. So that's a lie. And he knew what kind of shenanigans Eric was up to. Now, A good old-fashioned sex scandal is a good old-fashioned sex scandal. If you don't want to fool around, don't get married. But the reality here is that these guys did, and Gallego is now lying about it. What else has he lied about, Brooks? Clearly, I think Gallego is caught. Any thoughts on what might happen to him?
Well, I think he's probably going to be asked. They're probably going to be an ethics investigation on him too. It's about time. These Democrat cabals that abuse women and spend money and lie, it has to come to an end. And if it's sex that gets them, so be it. I don't care if it's income taxes or sex or whatever it is, but these guys are all dirty. I looked at his body language. He had his arms folded, his eyes flashed back and forth from left to right. He had wrinkles in his forehead. These are all signs of a professional interviewer will know this. Steve will know this. That's a sign they're lying.
Steve, do you agree with that assessment, body language wise, as a cop? Do you believe a word this guy said?
No, 100%. He's lying. And with all the video rangers out there who can recreate things and match things up, I can't believe that they haven't taken those clips and actually matched his face to the one in the video and his body and that type of thing. So I think it's just a matter of time. Somebody's going to go frame by frame, put it together, and his next conference will be, well, I lied because I was scared and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, you think that's the next step. Blake, caught red-handed. Caught fucking red-handed. What do you think? Do you think anything will happen to Ruben Gallego at this point? And do you agree that he's busted?
Yeah, I mean, that's some pretty compelling evidence there. So they have a long association. Of course, he must have known something because I guess apparently it was an open secret that Swalwell was a predator. So, yeah, he knows something, and he looks very uncomfortable in there. So I agree with Stephen Brooks there. So, yeah, he's panicking. He doesn't want to end his political career, get dragged down in an embarrassing scandal with Eric. So, yeah, but I think, the walls are going to be closing in as they push some further investigations. And I know they've been talking about this for a while, whether it's Nancy Mace or Luna, Timbershett, talking about, exposing some of these. They need to expose a lot more that's going in Congress, because this is not an isolated incident. This is like par for the course. This is
right.
Yeah, don't.
And not only that, I mean, you can't know somebody for years, work with them, hang around with them, be friends with them, and not know what the heck's going on. I mean, just with our relationship, I know all kinds of things about Mike that nobody else knows. Nothing bad, but I mean, no, but what I'm saying is you can't hang out with somebody and be around somebody and not know things about them that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah, like, as a for instance, I happen to know that one of the members of this panel is totally into Japanese tentacle porn, and I just kidding.
Did you say tentacle?
Tentacle. There is a thing called Japanese tentacle porn. I'm not even going to go there, but there was a CNN reporter who got busted. I forget his name, or one of the creeps that's always after Trump. And somebody got a hold of his Google search, and he was searching for Japanese tentacle porn. That was
my God.
That was his turn on. It's basically anime with tentacles and victims. It's pretty weird stuff. Anyway,
I don't want to see it.
So yeah, you don't want to see it. So I mean, the truth is that this is, I guess, the question for you, especially for you, Blake, is what should happen to Gallego? I think he's clearly guilty of this. He's clearly been caught up in the same web. Like Steve says, he knows what was going on. So he's not only been caught, he's lied about it. What is there about him? And how did this video get released? I think it was somebody like Posobiec or somebody started saying there's going to be a video of Eric Swalwell tomorrow that's going to come out on Friday. And then there's more videos, and apparently there's even more to these videos than what we've already seen. But Blake, back to you. What should happen to Gallego? I think he should also be impeached out of his seat or forced to resign. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the extent of his involvement is, and if he's a dirty boy like his friend there. I guess it depends on that. If that's him conclusively in that hotel room with the hooker, then they got him busted there. I don't know his family situation, but I'm assuming he's a senator. I mean, I don't know. Lindsey Graham is not exactly a normal family man, so I'm not exactly sure what Gallego's got going on in his personal life.
Yeah, there's a rumor coming out that some doctor in Kentucky or South Carolina says he's been treating Lindsey Graham with hormone therapy for the last 3 or 4 years to turn him into a woman that he wants to transition to. A woman.
Oh my God!
That's a rumor. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's the hot rumor.
What Diego should have done was said, "Look, I had no idea someone was filming that."
Yeah, that would have been really believable. All right, I want to throw a conspiracy theory at you guys because it is really interesting to me. That this happened the day after this actually happened.
Ooh.
Good afternoon.
Me
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect.
So that was Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States, on Thursday of last week, which is really interesting to me because here's the thing. One of the things she said is Epstein was not alone. And I watched some video of some dumb shit body language expert who says, well, he said that Epstein was not alone. And Trump, President Trump has denied that. He said that Epstein was working, by himself. He wasn't working for other agencies and so on and so forth. So she's completely contradicting the president. So therefore, I conclude that there's something big. A bomb is about to drop on President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and she's trying to separate herself from President Trump. Now, I viewed that, and I don't have that exact clip, but I'd like to go get it. But I look at that as exactly the opposite. Is what she did, because here's the thing. There's this list of witnesses that have about a dozen of them that have come forth. They all have links to Democrats, and they have continually insisted that all the files need to be released. All the files need to be released. Now, I think Trump is holding back some of the files because they will incriminate a bunch of people in Congress that he wants their votes for things like the SAVE Act and so forth. So I think he's blackmailing them. Trump is. But I don't view it that way at all. And I just want you to tell me if you think my theory is legitimate here, starting with Brooks and Stephen Blake, is that what she was actually doing, what that was to me, was a signal. Iran is over. Iran is done. We're just playing out the last few moves. Everybody knows. Checkmate. So now we're pivoting to the next thing. And the next thing is Epstein. And when she said Epstein was not alone, she didn't mean Epstein was working with other people. She meant there were other Epsteins out there. There are other guys just like him. And then boom, the next day, this sex scandal drops on Eric Swalwell, one of the architects of the phony Ukraine impeachment and main purveyors. And he is, boom, gone in a couple of days. I don't know, Brooks, let's start. Is this a pivot to releasing the Epstein files bit by bit, or stuff that was gathered during the Epstein investigation on people in Congress? And, it looks to me, Swalwell struck out, Gallego was on deck, and Nancy Pelosi maybe is in the hole, if you look at baseball terminology. What do you think?
Well, it's nice to make the assumption that all the officials that went to Epstein's island and got in a hot tub with Menudo are Democrats. They may not all be. And that might be why Trump is holding back some of it. He doesn't want these Republicans to go down either, because he would lose his majority in the Senate, in the House, because all these guys would be implicated and his whole legislative agenda would be turned upside down.
Okay, so Blake, do you think Gallego goes down? And what do you think of my theory that this happened to Swalwell? I mean, there's theories why he was mugging, cluttering up the governor's race in California, and Steve Wilkes, I think it is, has apparently a really good chance of actually winning the governor's seat, even in rigged California. And so they wanted to get rid of Swalwell, but they knocked out an ally in Congress as well as a candidate for governor. Do you buy that? And what do you think of my theory that this leak came from Trump? Because the people who leaked it are associated with, are supporters of Donald Trump. What do you think?
No, it's an interesting theory. It certainly could be connected. And like I said earlier, I mean, it's an open secret that a lot of these people are predators and they're just blackmailing each other. They know it all. So they know how to like kind of, pull on each other's strings. And maybe that could be a warning to like back off the release of the Epstein thing, or we're going to, expose you guys and we'll sacrifice a couple of those guys. I don't know. That's getting, but I mean, it's a high stakes game. We know a lot of people are caught up. We know that they're withholding a lot of information. I don't know what's in it. Yes, Trump does lose allies, including people that are close to him, like Howard Lutnick to his side. So that would be just a PR nightmare no matter what. So they're just trying to run out the clock on that. It was a surprise presser with Melania because it sounded like Trump didn't even know she was going to do it, or if that is that part of the strategy.
That's what they tried to say, and I don't think that's it at all. I think this was a strategy that we're now pivoting to the Epstein files. I mean, it's possible that he didn't know, but I do not think so. And I think this is not because anything's going to happen with Trump and the Epstein files. I think that what happened the next day was that was a shot across the bow to the deep state. Okay, I'm going to start pulling out this Epstein stuff. So, Steve, you've been the most vocal on the show, complaining, bitching, and rightfully so about them not doing enough about Epstein. What if this is the way they choose to do it? What if they choose to selectively remove their enemies? Because with Swalwell, it's possible you're going to get two birds with one stone. Because if you can get Gallego out of there as well, that's two key opponents that are gone. What if is it possible that this is the way Trump is going to release the Epstein information? He's just going to leak it out and let the scandals take care of themselves. Would you be more inclined to cut him some slack if this keeps up, if we have another one next week? Or do you think I'm full of shit?
Well, absolutely not. First and foremost, if Trump is using this information as blackmail to get what he wants, he needs to go to prison like the rest of them. These people are criminals. I don't care that he's looking for votes to get things done. If it totally makes the government collapse, good. Because once these people are removed, they can the states can then appoint almost immediately new congressmen, new senators, whatever the case may be. But this politics as usual. If you play ball, by my rules, I'll protect you. If you don't, I'm going to turn you over, turn you loose to the lions. That's all bullshit. That's got to stop. All of these corrupt people need to go to jail. They need to be, a lot of them are so evil and sadistic. They need to be under the prison. They need to be publicly hanged. And it's like, if you're going to use this as a political tool to get them to vote a particular way, then you're just as big of a criminal as they are for not putting them in prison.
Yep.
Well, I don't disagree with you 100%, but I'm just formulating this theory, right? That this is what's going on, that this is how the Epstein stuff is going to be released. It's not going to be necessarily directly linked to Epstein, but there's going to be the information they have on people is going to come out a little bit at a time. It's kind of like the NFL draft.
Why wait?
Okay, the NFL draft.
Why do it a little bit at a time? Get rid of if you have information, do it all at once. Republican, Democrat. First of all, let's look at reality. It's a uniparty. There are no Republicans and Democrats. They're all as corrupt as hell. They're all on the take. They're all ripping off the American people. Yeah. And it's like they all need to go and be replaced. Every damn one of them.
Brooks.
Well, don't you find it peculiar that a few days after Pam Bondi steps down, these people start going down?
Pam Bondi steps down. Iran, an agreement is made. A ceasefire is made. The next day, Melania comes out and says, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. I want to put these witnesses, these victims, under oath, which they immediately refused. That tells you they wouldn't go under oath in front of Congress. To me, that tells you that these victims are either not real victims or they're Democrat victims trying to help the Democrats. And she put them on the spot. And then the next day, you know, Trump throws a fastball at their head. Let's use the baseball analogy. The fastball comes right up at his head.
Right.
And we've got possibly two guys ready to be taken down. And I don't see how any of that is a coincidence. To remind you, to paraphrase what Franklin Roosevelt said once, things in politics do not just happen. They are planned that way. So the question I'm trying to figure out, and I got my theory, is what is planned. And Steve, I'm with you. I want the shock and awe. I want everybody arrested. I want new elections under Nassara with no mail-in voting and no machines and voter ID and one day only national holiday. I want all that. But maybe the Republic isn't quite ready for that. Maybe the democracy isn't quite ready for that. And if this is the alternative, as long as it keeps coming, I'm okay with it. We have to wait and see who the next scandal is. If they can successfully remove Gallego by the time we do this show next week, get him out of there. I'll say, okay, we got a plan. And then the next guy comes up, I'll be okay with all that. Because like I said, you got the batter at the plate, Gallego's on deck, and is Nancy Pelosi in the hole? Because what happened today is that a federal judge has officially approved a class action lawsuit against Nancy Pelosi.
Right on.
January 6 Patriots are now united, seeking $350 million in personal damages from what they claim was a coordinated setup. According to the lawsuit, Pelosi orchestrated the entire event, luring peaceful protesters into the Capitol, then labeling them violent insurrectionists to push a narrative. If she's found liable, it should, could, and would bankrupt her. This is no longer conspiracy theory. This is exposure. It's unraveling. Stay tuned. The next drop will be shocking, he says, the guy who leaked that. But it is apparently true, although not reported, that the federal judge has allowed this. So if we take down Swalwell, who's gone, Gallego, and Pelosi, boom, 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 I'm going to be a pretty happy camper. And I'm going to start to say, Steve, maybe there is a plan. Am I wrong? And what do you think about this?
Well, maybe there is a plan, but it's a corrupt plan. When people commit criminal acts, they need to be held accountable, and they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, especially elected officials that are, that have the public trust. So these people that are sitting there running this country, who, are basically immune from the law, and the only way we can get rid of them is by having a scandal here and a scandal there and having them resign. And there's no prosecution, there's no jail time, there's no repercussion other than you go home and spend the millions of dollars or billions of dollars that you stole from the American taxpayer. Give me a break. And as far as Pelosi's concerned, they can only take what's hers, and she's married. So, she's still going to live like a princess and do whatever the hell she wants, whenever she wants, because they can't touch her husband's money.
Well, that's true. And she, but it would put a bit of a crimp in her lifestyle. And certainly,
how? When your husband's worth more money than you are, how's it going to put a crimp in her lifestyle?
Well, but here's because during the course of the wait. Let me tell you. During the course of discovery, and you know all about that, it could certainly come out about his involvement in some of this and some of the funds. I guarantee you, Steve, that some of the money that went back and forth for January 6th to set that up ended up in his pocket, and then he is criminally liable with evidence exposed during discovery. So that's how it could happen. And, again, I go back to Eddie Murphy's line from Trading Places back in the 80s. It seems to me the best way to hurt rich people is to make them poor people. And I think it's a good start for that. Blake, any thoughts? Thank you, Laura, for the Rumble Rant. And Deb, thank you for the Super Chat, Rumble Rant. Remember, guys, like, subscribe, Rumble Rant, Super Chat. It helps us the show going, and it will allow me to once again buy these three guys a gift card at Christmas. So,
you all know he's not. All of this money goes into his drinking fund, and he told us before the show even started that he was like going to burlesque and drinking brewskis and bringing in women from
Steve,
Barcelona.
I bought you a Christmas gift card. I got all of you guys a gift card, and
then what does he do? He's like, what present am I getting? So I had to take the gift card and use it to buy him a present.
It's not my fault that the gift card would only allow you to buy a book written by Mike Bara off Amazon. That was a coincidence that happened, but thank you. So I got paid 2 weeks. All right, Blake, thoughts on this further expanded conversation?
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to start taking these deep staters down one by one. And Swalwell, it's a bigger deal, I think, now than Pelosi even. Pelosi is like almost like a lame duck. She's only got a year, 8 months left. She's going to be out next January. So, and she's not speaker anymore. She's almost totally irrelevant. But Swalwell, is terrible and as weird as he was still kind of like the a future star of the Democrat Party. And he was, going for the governor of California, and then Gallego, I believe, since he's the senator. So he was the one that beat Carrie Lake, I assume.
Yes.
So that would be
he's the one who stole the seat from Carrie Lake.
Right.
Her seat was stolen by Mark Kelly, and so on. Arizona, last 4 senators from Arizona have all been fraud, massive fraud. But go ahead.
Right. So taking him down would be a huge move. That's bigger than Pelosi there. So. Yeah, of those 3, she's actually the least important.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if this goes through, she could lose her fortune, and her husband could be implicated too. It's possible. Brooks.
Well, I was going to say,
it will drone on in court forever, and she'll be dead before there's ever a decision.
I find it most amusing that the Democrats are starting to space each other. That's what I find. They're not sticking together anymore. They're not circling the wagons and protecting their own. They just spaced Swalwell. They asked him to just get out. He'd outlived his usefulness. He was dead to rights, and so they just spaced him.
Yeah, that's probably correct. Let's hope it continues. Let's hope that they continue to feed.
I'd love to see some of the video from the Epstein files. Let's leak some of that.
Well, again, I just see that sequence of events, and I do not buy that it's not connected. The day after Melania, the first lady, comes out and talks about a sex scandal, we have a new sex scandal. And 1, probably 2 guys get taken down. So that's pretty interesting to me. We'll keep our eyes on that. Okay, last night in Hungary, or the night before, there was an election. Viktor Orban was defeated, apparently legitimately defeated. He did concede to somebody named Peter Magyar from the Tisza party. And there's been a lot of concern because Alex Soros was cheering this, and he was supposedly backed by Soros. Other people say that he is just as right-wing as Orban, but Orban had shown some signs of corruption, and that was a problem. Other people say Trump wants Orban to be run for president of the EU after this, but there is apparently some information today. Magyar has come out and said he's going to continue Orban's policies of on immigration.
No immigrants.
Az Európai Bizottság elnökének és minden európai vezetőnek, hogy Magyarország nagyon szigorú álláspontot képvisel az illegális migráció kapcsán, nem fogad el semmilyen paktumot, meg ilyen allokációs mechanizmust, és megtartjuk a déli határkerítést, sőt, be is fogjuk foltozni azokat a lyukakat, amik most ott vannak, mert hogy vannak lyukak azon a határkerítésen, valószínűleg nem is véletlenül. És ellentétben Orbán Viktorral nem fogunk kiengedni 2200 jogerősen elítélt embercsempészt a magyar börtönökből. Nem fogunk migránsokat szállítani a szlovák határra, hogyha éppen a szlovák szoci haverunknak az érdeke ezt kívánja a választási kampányban. Mi őszintén beszélünk, és valóban szeretnénk megóvni a hazánkat és Európát is az illegális migrációtól. A migrációnak vannak legális formái, és azokat kell betartani. Úgyhogy azt tudom mondani, hogy meg fogjuk találni arra a módot, hogy ne kelljen tovább fizetni ezt a bírságot, hiszen ez nagyon hiányzik a magyar költségvetésből. Szerintem egyébként hűtlen kezelés is amit Orbánék tettek, hogy nem találtak erre egy jogi megoldást, hogy az illegális migránsok kint maradjanak, és a pénzt Magyarországon ne kelljen fizetni, de ez már egy másik kérdés. A lényeg az, hogy meg fogjuk oldani, és a Tisza az egy szigorú politikát fog folytatni az illegális migráció kapcsán. Köszönöm.
Okay, so he actually seems like he's just as intense as Orban on this, if not more so. Brooks, what do you think about this development? And what is up with this guy?
Well, he's not only talking about patching the holes in the fence, he's also talking about stopping paying the fines that the EU has put against them for refusing to take asylum seekers. He's saying we're not going to pay those fines either. So, yeah, it's pretty tough. I like this guy.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the situation? And thank you guys for the super chats. We appreciate that. I am sold. Thank you. Blake, any thoughts on this new Magyar guy? It's kind of music to my ears. I mean, as an almost all Hungarian thing, I have an affinity for Hungary. It's an independent, defiant of the EU nation, has been under Orban. Sounds like those policies may continue. Is that good or bad, or is this guy just a wolf in sheep's clothing?
That I don't know if he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I know people were freaking out when they saw Orban was gone. Not that he's this a great guy, or he's not an angel. He's no saint, but yes, he did at least stand up to the New World Order, the EU, or what have you, and at least was a nationalist and cared about his people, and that's very respectable. So when he was out, that was my concern, was that they were going to get some other globalist stooge EU bureaucrat type. So if they can upgrade that, that's a huge win. So good for Hungary if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot see Alex Soros being real happy with that reply to that question in that press conference by Magyar. Steve, do you give a shit at all about Hungary and the Hungarian election, or no?
Well, any member of the EU that gives them a bad time is great in my book. Time will tell if he's corrupt or he'll change his mind. But based on what he's saying, I think he's a great replacement for the old president. I think he, or at least the way he's talking, he's more conservative than the guy who was in there. And if he keeps giving the EU a bad time and refuses to pay those fines and refuses to cooperate with them as far as immigration is concerned, he's my guy.
Yeah, I kind of am with you on that. I was also concerned, but now I feel better.
Well, it's either that or they end up like the countries that did go along with the EU, did let the immigrants in, and are now paying for it. Look at Ireland.
Yeah.
Look at Switzerland. Bombings every day.
Oh, wow.
Murders, just through the roof.
And there are riots going on.
And the police say they cannot control it. They absolutely can't control it.
Okay, let's flip over to the Strait of Hormuz. This is the actual traffic going on through the Strait of Hormuz right now. And this is fascinating because they're not stopping at the Iranian ports. They're hitting the Saudi ports, the Qatari ports. What's the other one? Let me go back here.
Oman.
Dubai and UAE, Oman. While Iran's regime ports are totally dead, there's zero movement. That just warms your soul. Who's the stronger one now? Yeah. Here's the thing about this that is so interesting is I'm gonna, while you guys are talking, I'm gonna try to pull up the map of what's going on in the Gulf of America. But basically, what's happened is there's hundreds of tankers headed toward the Gulf of America to fuel up in the United States. Brooks, do we even need the petrodollar if everybody just comes and buys their oil from us?
No, absolutely not. We totally control the market. And if you look at what's happening to Iran, their storage capacity is almost maxed out. They're like 94, 95% in a very short amount of time. They'll have all the oil stored that they can hold, and the pumps have to shut down.
Okay. This is also interesting because let me flip to another thing.
Well, while you're doing that, one of the things that I thought of this week is that Trump should market that Iranian oil, and he should keep all the money. Don't let the IRGC have any of the money. And then he should establish a new bank. Call it the Bank of Trump if you want to. And he should open an account for all 46 million adult Iranians who are not soldiers.
Yeah.
And they should put dividend checks in those accounts for those people and watch them turn on the IRGC.
Yep, that sounds good to me. Trump is scheduled to speak tomorrow with Maria Bartiromo. There's been some leaks that he says basically the Iran war is over. It does appear to be over. There are actually rumors, and apparently there's some truth to the fact that we're going to sit down with the Iranians again. There is rumors that Iran has agreed to give up their nuclear ambitions, that they are going to do that as a means of submission, which would mean the war is over. And look, effectively at this point, again, this is just that supposedly he's going to be on Maria Bartiromo. I don't know if this is the second part of an interview he did the other day or if this is a new interview, but supposedly he's going to announce tomorrow that, yeah, basically Iran is all over and we got everything we wanted. That would mean no nuclear weapons for them. And again, with all this money now flowing to the U.S., that basically puts an end to, I think, the deep state cabal's main money flow, which
That's
is
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
I think if this is what the result of this whole thing is, that they have no nukes and we get all the oil money, I'm okay with that. I guess it was a war of necessity. Blake, any thoughts about Steve? You're shaking your head. You go ahead first. What do you think, Steve?
Well, again, like I said before, once you make a deal with the devil, there's no turning back. If they're going to allow the regime to stay in power, not let the Persian people take over Iran, then in a very short period of time, within the next year or so, we're going to be back at it. So it is not over. It is only over if the regime completely steps down and they replace them with the Persians. If not, it's just smoke and mirrors, and it's just a matter of time. Could be months, and we'll be back.
Yeah.
Hope not. Yeah, there's rumors there's a deep state vault on Karg Island. Blake, what do you think about these developments? I know you were against the action in the first place, but it seems like it's working out pretty well for the U.S. so far. And if this trend continues, we're going to get really rich, and the deep state is going to be starved of funds. And I don't see how the Iranian regime can last. Maybe Trump's playing the long game on getting rid of those guys.
I mean, I sincerely hope that Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He's the 5D chess master, and this is all going according to his step-by-step plan, and we're all going to get rich. I don't know. We're still waiting to see it. I didn't think this was the plan A strategy or plan B or plan C. But if it works out in some way and we can reroute this traffic and somehow get this oil money, I don't know if we have enough to do that. I know they were like the largest oil producer. We're also the largest oil consumer, and we consume more than we produce. But I don't know about the math, but I know Venezuela, and I know the petrodollar and so many other factors, and trying to blockade the Strait of Hormuz and playing this very dangerous game with Iran. But if it works out, that's great. And I agree with Steve too. I don't know if we're going to get people that we want at some point. Maybe it's going to be up to the Iranians, but hopefully maybe they could again split the country in some way where we can separate some of these people, because it is a big place. It's hard to put that many people under one umbrella, and then you're running with the hostile regime.
Yeah,
so if they could break that up and take their power down, that would be.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would think Iran would be better off split into three different nations: Persia, Kurdistan, and goat fuckville or something for the year.
Well, the issue is that the country legitimately is not Islamic. It is not Islamic. Islam is foreign to Iran, and the people hate it. They hate Islam.
Yeah. Okay, I want to switch to. We got a few minutes left here. I've got a friend to go visit here. There is a rumor, and it is floating around that Pete Hegseth has been giving a deadline to come forward about aliens. So let's watch this quick little video from Newsweek.
Oh.
aliens are real? Possibly. President Donald Trump has directed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to release any government files related to unidentified flying objects and aliens. Trump's move comes as he criticized former President Barack Obama for saying that aliens are real but are not being kept in Area 51.
He gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake.
Trump has repeatedly addressed the subject of aliens and UFOs over the years, usually striking a tone of skepticism mixed with curiosity rather than outright belief.
I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it.
A 2021 Pew Research Center survey found that almost 2/3 of Americans say that their best guess is that intelligent life exists on other planets. After triggering a flurry of speculation based on his remarks, Obama clarified that statistically, the universe is so vast, the odds are good that life is out there. However, Trump is now escalating the issue by ordering a review and a release of any documents related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life, among other matters.
Sorry.
Okay, so apparently this is coming up, and there are rumors that there's a letter signed by Anna Paulina Luna dated March 31st that was requested over 45 video files that reportedly include spherical, cigar-shaped, and tic-tac-like objects recorded by U.S. military platforms over war zones, oceans, and restricted airspace. Well, to me, that should tell you that they're ours, not aliens. But the task force held a hearing on these concerns, yada, yada, yada. But apparently pressure has escalated now to do something about this. Are we moving forward with Iran and all these other things to get this off the table to set the stage for aliens? Brooks, what do you think? By the way, I am Salt. That is a great super chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I can pretty much afford you guys, gift cards are going up.
Well, you know, there's several things that have been happening in the disclosure genre for a while. There have been a lot of charlatans in the genre, and they've kind of sucked up all the limelight for probably 20 years. Mm-hmm. But there was recently a shift that all of the UAP information has now been transferred to the Pentagon. There's no longer like a UFO, you know, a Blue Origin or Blue Files or X Files. It's all been transferred to the Pentagon. And that was recent. That was like last month. So everything is in the hands of the Pentagon, which means everything's in the hands of Pete Hegseth. And now the president has stepped forward and said, release it.
Well, yeah. And, you know, again, it's pretty straightforward. Here's what President Trump could do. Since all of this information is held under agencies under his control, he could simply sign an executive order saying any file that contains or document that contains the word alien, extraterrestrial, UFO, UAP, unidentified flying object, whatever, that Mike Bara has complete access to that.
Absolutely.
And no anything. Just one executive order, one page, and just say this guy is now the czar of alien, the alien czar for the White House, and you have to give him everything. He could absolutely do that, and none of these people could stop it. They will, but none of them could stop it. So,
well, you're the only one out there with a best-selling book on that subject.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it.
And the only one that I know that got thrown out of a speaking engagement in Arizona for saying that Trump was going to release those files.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the first term.
Yeah, Phoenix MUFON's never had me back since I told him Trump was going to release everything. And yet, here the fuck we are, guys. Okay, so Blake, does this have major social implications? And do you get a feeling something's coming before the summer? Because I kind of do.
Well, I know that Spielberg movie's coming out. They're going to leak out some of that disclosure stuff. They're, you know, slow dripping it. But the thing that concerns me is this story. I don't think we've covered it, but it's going around. So we're up to like 10 now of these scientists that have either like turned up dead or missing. Whether they're nuclear weapons, fusion energy, advanced. I'm reading a tweet here. Advanced propulsion, rocket materials, asteroid tracking. They're going missing from Los Alamos, NASA, JPL, MIT, Caltech. Centered a lot about around New Mexico there, Steve. So I don't know. It's a coincidence. But it's a
not
it's a dangerous to get involved with. These
and these are not all civilians. I mean, there's some generals that have
Military.
disappeared as well.
Aslin was commander of in space, I think Space Force of some stuff, and he's still missing. Steve, any thoughts? Do 9 or 11 guys, all affiliated in some way with the investigations of UFOs for the American military and science, do they just disappear without a connection or not?
Absolutely not. I mean, there's no coincidences in New Mexico.
Speaking as a former New Mexican.
Speaking as a former New Mexican and someone who worked at Los Alamos. When people start disappearing and they're all involved in the same or similar project, there's something that the government does not want you to know. So they make sure that the people who can tell you and who are experts on that subject are not around to give you any information. I have no idea to this day why I'm still here, other than God protected me and kept me safe from them taking me out. Because normally, if you raise any kind of waves or do anything that goes against the grain of what they're doing, you just happen to disappear, or you're found on the side of the road and behind the wheel of the car, and you had a heart attack.
Yeah, it's because God wants you to be my personal bodyguard when I am made czar of alienology for the White House, whatever that is.
I mean, seriously, I'm in all, and I'm not being flippant with that. I mean, it's only by the grace of God that I'm sitting here today, because everybody else that was in my same or similar situation is now dead or missing.
I know, and everybody should go. It's still on YouTube. The 48 Hours documentary about Steve from a few years ago. They did a 48 Hours show on him and his buddy at Los Alamos about what happened to them after they exposed the fraud. What Doge is now getting paid and getting showered with praise for. They tried to kill you over what you did for the same thing.
So pretty much, and not only that, what the federal government does when they don't like what you do, if they can't kill you, they bankrupt you. I mean, I was homeless for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I lost everything I had. I mean, absolutely everything. They just kept coming after me criminally, coming after me civilly, until I was completely broke, had nothing. And literally, it took me about 2 years to get a job, any job. I was like literally sweeping the floor of a church for like $200 a week at their event center. And it took me about 2 years to get a regular job, because every time I'd apply for a job, I'd get blackballed.
Yep. Yeah. That happens to people too. So, all right. We don't know what's going to happen with aliens, but something else really weird happened this week that I think is worth talking about. As we can see from what's going on in the Gulf of America and the Strait of Hormuz, the global map is being rewritten. And it's really interesting because there is a Trump library website that is getting ready to build his presidential library after it's all over. And they put out a video this week. And there's something really interesting about the video. Let's watch it real quick and see if anybody notices what's interesting about this. Okay, so that is the Presidential Library and Museum. What I want to know is, did anybody notice, did anybody notice anything in that video?
It was the tallest building in the city.
It was a tall building. It looks like Miami. But there is one thing that people pointed out almost immediately. And what they pointed out was that the flag has 56 stars on it.
Oh.
So this flag has appeared from time to time before. If you notice, it's not the standard American flag with 50 stars on it. I counted them. There's 56 there. On this video, officially put out by Trump's library. And remember, Trump occasionally put out a video on medbeds a couple months ago, which everybody's like, why did he post that? And then they dropped it. So I thought what we would do is go through and look at, where is it? Let's take a look at the world map as it currently exists. And then let's start redrawing it along the lines of this, I don't know, what do you call it? Jassara agreement. Well, there's the first 50 states. So if you add other English-speaking states like Canada, it's 51, Greenland, 52, Australia, 53, New Zealand, 54. If you go to, I don't know, our new friend Venezuela, it's 55. Cuba. And if you add the UK, it's 56. Now I've been told this before, that basically this is going to be the new world map.
We don't want the UK.
That there's going to be
Australia.
And the reason why we hold on to Venezuela is as a state, or it could be Cuba.
Cuba.
Right. It could be Cuba and not Venezuela, because I mean, if you look at the access to the Gulf of America, that's important. But any thoughts on this crazy conspiracy theory? And I've just been told that's going to be the new kingdom, the new Commonwealth of English-speaking worlds, and the British are now going to be owned by us. They're not going to own us anymore. And that's what the Queen thing was all about. Steve, is this a crackpot conspiracy theory, or could you see something like this actually happen?
Well, I can see us taking on more territory, not states necessarily at this particular point in time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the UK. We don't want their problems. We don't want their messes. I would take Ireland, but the rest of the UK can go to hell. As far as Venezuela, parts of Canada, and Cuba, different countries
Alberta.
like that, I would say that it would be in our best interest to, at the very least, make those territories of the United States. But it takes a while for locations like that to establish and for it to be voted on and for them to become states. So I mean, there's not enough time left in this term to do that. There's time to make them territories of the United States, but not states.
Well, okay, but I guess you could still put them on there pending statehood. Blake, go ahead, Brooks. Go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't think all of Canada, but certainly Alberta. Alberta's already going through the mechanism.
But we don't want the rest of Canada either.
Right.
We don't want all those Indians and Muslims and all those people. I mean, as of today, I think it's 210 churches have been burned down by those bastards. Churches that were hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
And they've been burnt down and done away with. We don't want those people.
Lebanon? It's an interesting theory. It's certainly possible. I'm not sure about the UK. I think that's a hard one for. That would be so humiliating for them. I can see Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, Greenland, or maybe Venezuela, or again, if they split Canada into a couple of different territories.
Ireland would love to be part of the United States.
Ireland would be cool. I don't know if they would be on board with that or not. They have a lot of pride too. But we shall see. I can't see UK doing that. Australia might be
half this country is Irish.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of the country is Irish. Yeah. So I got to ask the conspiracy question because I'm a conspiracy theorist. Do you guys think that means nothing that there's 56 stars on that flag? The answer is no. It means something. We just don't know.
It's aggressive. Yeah.
It's aggressive. Yeah. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Another great show. Any other issues we didn't get to that you wanted to bring up? Brooks, Blake, Brooks, Blake, or Steve? Anything you wanted to bring up?
Well, the ballroom. Ballroom, there's an appeal that's pending, and the stay has been extended. But all the construction that's underground, all the security and the bunkers and everything, it's ongoing. They can't stop that because it has nothing to do with the architecture. That's what the lawsuit is all about. There are going to be a system of bunkers underneath this ballroom because it's going to have every head of state in the world in it. So if it's attacked, you need to have some place underground to put all those people and keep them safe. All that's ongoing.
That is interesting. And here's another thing I find kind of interesting is that one of the rumors, the crazy rumors and the conspiracy side of things, is that, let me do this share, is that, yeah, okay, come on, share. Shit. Share screen. I don't want to tab. I can't get it to work. Okay. Is that the ballroom is going to contain the replica of the Ark of the Covenant that's at Mar-a-Lago right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
And, if you look at, I'm trying to show you this. I can't show it to you. I can't get it to work for some reason. If you look at the layout of the ballroom, it's identical to Solomon's Temple.
How about that?
Room. It's got a vestibule, a main room, and a holy of holies, where you could put the Ark. And I've been told that's actually the real Ark that Trump has.
That's what I've been told too.
Cards at the Bush funeral. So the ballroom is something that bears watching. And maybe we'll do maybe when I'm better prepared, we'll do a little segment on the ballroom if there's any.
Also, don't forget Artemis splashdown right on schedule.
Yep.
So all you domers, there will be counseling available at my website. If you are, if you're in a crisis of thought, don't worry about it. You can come to me and I will help you through the mess, the round world reality.
Has anybody done a wellness check on Bart Sabrell or Jay Widener at this point?
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys, thanks for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the super chats. Those were wonderful, especially I am so
awesome.
That was fantastic, and love you guys. We will be back here next Tuesday, barring any unforeseen incidents, for another edition of Toxically Masculine Tuesday. For Brooks Agnew, TV's Blake Wally, and the Trail Boss, Steve Doran, I'm Mike Bara. Thanks for being here. See you next week. I'll be back tomorrow with Jen for Real News Live with Mike and Jen in the afternoon.